olhos meus e a luz dos olhos teus resolvem se encontrar. Ai, que bom que isso é, meu Deus, que frio que me dá o encontro desse olhar. Mas se a luz dos olhos teus resiste aos olhos meus só pra me provocar, meu amor, juro por Deus, me sinto incendiar. Meu amor, juro por Deus que a luz dos olhos meus já não pode esperar. Quero a luz dos olhos meus na luz dos olhos teus sem mais lararará. Pela luz dos olhos teus eu acho meu amor e só se pode achar que a luz dos olhos meus precisa se casar.
Careful with What You Wish For, Part 3. Whenever he arrived, he left a pack of jelly beans as a tip to the very happy driver and went inside. Dylan couldn't see, and anywhere in Marcy was eating the juiciest BMT sandwich he had seen in a while and said, "Yeah, Marcy, finally learning about what's good in life." And she waved at him while biting her sandwich. He kept walking around looking for but he couldn't find her. She arrived late and her eyes were red. She looked like she was crying. Dylan went to her and asked if she was okay, and told him that she wasn't sure. He didn't know what to do in these circumstances, so he walked back to his table and kept thinking about what could have happened. Why wasn't his plan working? Marcy then asked him to come over to her desk and said, "I don't know what you have done, but the big boss wants to see you tomorrow." "Tomorrow, not today?" Dylan said. "Yep, he isn't in the office today. Let me know whenever you guys go to lunch today. I want to try that meatball sub you always get," Marcy said with a smile. Dylan agreed, nodding with his head, and walked back thinking, "No way you are ruining my lunch plans." So, he sat at his desk and made a cartoon of Marcy in an all-you-can-eat barbecue place he knew that was far from the office, and imagined her with a huge desire to eat all that meat. 15 minutes later, Marcy passes through him and says, "Never mind about the lunch. I will have to go home very quickly to get some stuff I forgot, and be right back." Dylan smiled at her and answered, "Don't worry, buddy. Michael is not around, and I am not telling." He blinked at her and she blinked back at him. So, his lunch was safe, thanks to his superpower. He looked at and she was headed down, with her earphones, and he decided not to bother her. When it was lunchtime, he went to her desk and asked her to come. "I am not hungry, to be very honest, but maybe I could go for your company," and answered with a sad smile. "Perfect. Let's go," Dylan said. She looked for Marcy and couldn't see her anywhere, and Dylan told, "Don't worry. She is having lunch by herself today." While they were walking, and said, "I am sorry for what I did yesterday. That was impulsive and I am very ashamed. I always had a crush on you, but I thought it wasn't going to happen, and we were going to be just friends. That's why you are sad? Don't be, I liked it, that was a good kiss. I could use some more," Dylan answered, trying to make her laugh. "It worked." "Not exactly. It's just, I thought we were just friends, so I kind of let go of any expectations, and I don't know how it's going to be from now on. Because I kissed you. Do you understand?" Dylan wasn't sure. Probably he didn't, but he knew how to solve it. When they arrived at the restaurant, he told and to get a table and went to the restroom. Once inside the restroom cabin, he got his tiny sketchbook from his pocket and the worn pencil that was attached to its spiral, and started drawing a quick sketch of Anne, but with a huge smile and surrounded by hearts. He went back to the table and realized that, and ordered their usual dishes, and was sipping her drink while looking at her phone. Dylan sat at the table and asked how she was feeling, and was smiling, and it was terrifying. "I am feeling better, I think," and said, drooling some of her drink. She had tears in her eyes and an expression of despair, besides this huge, distorted smile that was preventing her from closing her mouth to swallow properly. Dylan paralyzed. It was too hard for him to describe the profound, conflicting feelings he was having at that moment, especially being someone so shallow. But it was a mix of something like surprise, fear, guilt, and disgust. Their food arrived and she tried to eat, but her lips couldn't touch each other. Dylan grabbed the note to erase that damned cartoon, but before he could do anything, someone took the notebook from him. It was a black man, tall with long braided hair, He had inscriptions all over his neck and was wearing a black long coat over a naked tattooed chest, holding a cane and a top hat. The man looked at his draw with a disgusted expression and said, "I am taking this from you, before you can misuse it again." Then a woman appeared behind him. She resembled Dylan, a mix of indigenous from South America and a Spanish flamenco dancer, wearing a red dress and a red rose in her hair. The woman came towards them and looking directly to Anne, she said, "Don't worry, child. You will feel a lot better now," while touching her cheek with affection. And Anne was back to normal with the blink of an eye, but she was looking aerial, dreamy, maybe something between peace and alienation. Dylan could only stare at the whole scene, without a word. The couple walked away, arm in arm, and no one seemed to be bothered about the weird clothes or manners they had. No one even paid attention to them. The man threw Dylan's notebook in the trash can while walking out, and once they were in the street, they disappeared. Dylan couldn't see where they were or went, and called his attention to her, since she was telling him something important about a change in her work, and he was lost in his thoughts looking outside. "You are not listening to me, and that's important," and said with a frustrated tone, "I am sorry, but what just happened? Who were these people?" Dylan said, confused. "Who, Dylan? Okay, just eat your food and we can speak later through the phone. You are my best friend, so I want to be honest with you, and we are almost on time to come back to the office," and said, filling her mouth with juicy lasagna. Dylan started eating without a word, and he was relieved that and was back to normal. But the image of those two was stuck in his mind, along with the song "Highway to Hell" that started playing in his mental radio. They went back to the office and Marcy was looking for him. "Hey buddy, sorry to tell you, but your mom's neighbor called him asking for you. Apparently there is something wrong with your mom. Here is his phone number for you to call." Dylan talked to the neighbor and discovered that his mom had been taken to the hospital earlier and he had to go there immediately. Apparently, the neighbor saw her crying through the window and couldn't make her answer him. He was concerned about Gina. She lives alone and there was something weird, so he called 911 to break into her house and rescue her. Apparently, Gina was paralyzed in the hall of her house, holding her phone in one hand and crying silently. Her coffee cup was broken on the floor with dry stains of coffee on the carpet, and she relieved herself in her clothes. When they asked her what happened, they realized that she couldn't speak or move, and according to the circumstances, she was like that for a while. Gina was taken to the hospital by an ambulance, and that's where she was, waiting for Dylan to come over. Dylan went to the hospital as fast as he could. When he arrived, his mom was laying in the bed and chatting with a nurse. "Oh, Dylan, honey, I am so glad you are here." And she opened her arms asking for a hug. "What happened, Mom?" he said, still in shock. "I was just telling this lovely nurse. Joe, meet my baby boy, Dylan." "Dylan, this is Joe," Gina said, pointing to her. "Last night when we turned off the phone, I felt my whole body stop working, slowly starting with my feet and legs, and I tried to call you back, but my arms were taken, and before I could scream, my voice was gone. I was there all the time, conscient but incapable of moving. It was horrible," and Gina started crying. "I am so sorry, Mom," Dylan said with a sad voice. "It's not your fault, honey. It's fine. I just went back to normal about an hour ago, and the doctors are keeping me here to run some tests and find out what caused my body to stop responding like that for so long. Joe here was explaining this to me just now," Gina said, smiling at the nurse. For a glimpse, Dylan could see the lady in red standing there right beside his mother. But then he blinked, and the fluffy, lovable Joe was back instead. "Yeah, and now, you need to rest, Miss Faust, so you can recover faster," Joe said while walking to the door. "I will be back soon to check on you. Okay?" And she left the room. Dylan let himself fall in the chair right beside her bed and covered his eyes. He was feeling an intense headache and couldn't think anymore. Gina looked at him with tenderness and told him, "My baby boy, don't worry. I will be fine, I promise." "I know, Mom. You should try to sleep as the nurse told you," Dylan answered, noticing something off in the television. "Mom, can you raise the volume of the TV, please?" "Of course, honey," Gina said, attending him immediately. There was a woman holding a poster with a very well-known picture in her hands. I am begging. If you have any information about my son, please contact us. He is my only child and me and my husband are devastated. Colin, sweetheart, if you can hear me, please contact us if you can, and if you can't, no, we will never give up. We will find you. It was the local news on the TV, and the smiling picture of Colin, the duck, was stamping the screen.
Thanks for watching. Like, comment and subscribe. Check out our website to read more tales. www.forestttales.com